Welcome to Clown Lore Podcast,
where Taylor Swift did not announce Rep TV at the VMAs.
But I already saw a new theory. October 6th.
Of course you did.
Because you want to hear why.
Why?
There was a meet and greet that Taylor did for the Rep tour where she was wearing a plaid jacket.
Come on.
October 6th.
I'm done clowning. I'm done. I'm done.
I'm hanging up the nose.
Abby and Kat were born in 1997 and became best friends when they were 6. Grew up together and started a band and bonded over music ever since. 20 years later, they are all grown up and spend their free time analyzing lyrics. Now here they are talking all about their Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift. Taylor, if you're listening, we love you.
Hello. I don't know why the fuck I said it like that. It just came from my soul, and I didn't like it.
You just
put that soul back where it came from. Anyways, welcome to Swiftlore Podcast, where we dive into the lyrics and lore of our Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift.
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
I'm Kat.
I'm Abby.
And we're out here.
We are. I didn't do the thumb thing this week, sorry.
That's fine. I don't know what I'm doing with my body right now.
At any given moment, I'm that noise.
I'm just 27. I'm literally just a girl.
We're in the era of Swiftlore right now where it's just, who's to say what's going on?
Yeah, it's just pure chaos. Yeah. And on an exciting note, we have finished the Patreon physical rewards, and the first round of those will be going out by the end of this month. So if you join, once you've joined for 2 months, it'll be on its way to you. We're a little bit delayed with this first round because life on fire garbage can. Because I have been really busy because my book is now available for pre-order.
Woo!
Which is so exciting.
Very.
It's called Daisy Plucked. It's a Sapphic Y Hamlet retelling where the main character, Daisy, goes to her recent ex-girlfriend and lifelong best friend's funeral after she thinks the friend's name is Hannah. And she thinks that Hannah killed herself. Everybody thinks that. And then Hannah's ghost shows up and is just like, what's up? I didn't kill myself. I was actually murdered, and only you can solve it. And then...
yeah,
hijinks ensue. And
I read it. I read a draft from like ages ago. So
yeah,
I know
changed a lot. Even Abby's going to be surprised, I think.
I'm really excited to read it again. And so we're going to put that link out there for pre-order. And I'm so excited.
Might do a pre-order campaign. We'll see what happens.
I am like, my co-host is an author. Whoa.
Wow. Look at me go.
Whoa.
Whoa.
This week... we're covering songs that are happy and also not.
Why did you say that like a millennial? Methinks.
So
it's also been a week and a half since we saw each other in person. So like literally I was like, I miss you. It's been like 9 days since we saw each other. I can't stress this enough. We saw each other like last Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw each other on September 2nd, and it's currently September 12th. Like, it's literally 10 days. And I'm like, I miss you. Stay for dinner.
How did we used to go, like, months?
I don't know.
How did we do that?
Who's to say?
That's so strange.
I know. Now, if I don't see you every week, I'm like, I'm going to die.
But, yeah, so we're covering songs today that are happy and also sad. I don't know how else to say that.
No, it was the tone of voice that you said it that was millennial. You were like, so...
I'm being Taylor. So this week I will be covering Love Story.
And I will be covering All You Had to Do Was Stay.
Wow. Yeah. I think you should go first.
I agree. All you had to do was stay.
All you had to do was
stay. So all you had to do to stay.
All you had to do to stay.
All you had to do to stay was not leave. It's that easy. Literally that easy. So All You Had to Do Was Stay is track 5 on 1989 and 1989 Taylor's version. My upstairs neighbors just, I don't know, like did a death drop upstairs or something. So
I was like, what just happened?
Maybe they're bowling.
They're bowling.
I don't have any soup.
Deep cut reference.
I feel like Bowling for Soup is a pretty popular band.
Okay, but did you have their album? I had their album.
I did not. Are they the ones that did the Phineas and Ferb theme song?
Oh, they might have. Oh, that sounds right.
If I'm wrong, don't tell me. I don't want to know. So this song was written by Taylor and Max Martin, who was a big collaborator on a lot of 1989 in Rep. Originally on the stolen version, it was produced by Max Martin, Shellback, and Matt Man and Robin, which I did not say out loud until just now. I just copy and pasted it from Wikipedia because I was like, oh, that's funny. Or not, I didn't.
Matt Man.
I just thought I was going to spell it wrong because I was in a place of not computing words.
Get it.
I've been doing like little formatting edits on my book for like 2 days to make it look good on the ebook, and so it's fine. Anyways, but Taylor's version was produced by Taylor and Christopher Rowe or Rao. I don't know. It's ROWE, so like could be Rowie with how the English language works.
True.
So it could be anything, but definitely Christopher. And this Taylor got the idea for this song from a dream. I have a quote of her. She did a interview with Ryan Adams, who did like the cover of 1989 that was all the acoustic versions, and he had asked her like, have you ever written a song based on a dream? And I'm like, this feels like a setup, because she had a good answer. I had a dream that my ex showed up at my door, knocked at my door, and I opened it up, and I was ready to launch in the perfect thing to say. Instead, all that would come out of my mouth was high-pitched chorus of people singing "Stay," and then you go to say something else, and it was just like, "Stay, stay, stay." And I woke up, and I was like, oh God, that was mortifying. But that's kind of a cool vocal part. And so that's why the "Stay" is so weird, because it's literally like a nightmare.
Stay. It's iconic is what it is.
It is iconic, but it's also like, it makes sense that her conscious mind did not create that, you know?
Yeah. Although, oddly enough, my nightmare also includes "Stay, stay, stay." No. Thank you.
We haven't used
I know
that in a while, but imagine that I did that with good timing. That was so funny. That's so funny. I love you. This is what happens when we're apart too long. I'm just like showering. Anyways,
like, oh my gosh, my friend is funny.
She's so funny. I forgot. I forgot that you were funny. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Anyways, so this was on the 1989 World Tour set list. Just a random note that I saw when I was looking at the set list to make sure it wasn't like a rotating surprise song or something. But after this song is when she would have on guests, which like sometimes I forget that the 1989 World Tour, like a lot of the dates she would just like have guests come on stage, and it was always after this song, and then after the surprise guest she'd do the surprise song. So just a fun little tidbit that this was the equivalent of like during Era's tour, when you're in the era before like waiting for the surprise songs. It was this one.
Oh, interesting.
And this was not played at all on the Rep tour, but it was a surprise song so far twice on the Eras tour. Once on guitar in Detroit on June 10th, 2023. The piano song was Breathe, so interesting pairing. And then July 9th, 2024, I wrote 2023 and that's wrong. July 9th, 2024, it was in Zurich. It was a guitar mashup with Right Where You Left Me. And I think I blocked that out because that was my response the last time she did it. And then I just took it out of my brain, totally forgot about it until today. And then I went, ow, I'm not going to listen to that.
Oof.
I mean, all you had to do was stay, and I'm right where you left me. Ugh. Rude.
Oh, man, no.
In terms of personal connections, I listened to this a lot when 1989 Taylor's version came out for reasons I'm not going to go into detail about on the internet. But all I'm saying is that this is the Text Your Ex album. And if I didn't text my ex, you can also not text your ex. This has been a public service announcement. I'm just going to get like paid for by. Anyways, overall, the song is just about explaining to somebody why you're not giving them a second chance and like why it's not working out. And also another repetition is the key to remembering things moment. She repeats all you had to do was stay a lot in this song. Maybe if her ex had listened to this before leaving her, things could have worked out.
Although if you listen to the rest of 1989, it sort of did.
Yeah, I feel like that all you had to do was stay next to this love, and you're just like, Taylor, girl, make up your mind. But also, who among us has not been in an on-again, off-again relationship? Glass houses, stones, etc., etc. People like you always want back the love they gave away. Like, immediately right for the throat. She's like, people like you. And there's nothing that will come after the phrase people like you that is going to be positive. Just generally, I can't think of a single instance where I'd be like, people like you are so gorgeous and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get
like
it.
That's not a,
you wouldn't
if you're just like, you're just one of those gorgeous people, you know what I mean? It's the phrasing. This is generally just a phrase that's like not something you say with a compliment following it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So even before the end of the line, you're like, oh, go for his throat, Taylor. And then she kind of does. And like, this idea of like people like you always want back the love they gave away. The idea of like seeing love as transactional is so bleh. Mm-hmm. I hate when people are like, well, I did XYZ in the relationship and so you should have done XYZ. And it's like, well, I didn't know you were keeping score from high infidelity. Like
right,
that idea of like keeping track of things and seeing relationships as transactions is icky. And Taylor also is not a fan of it because I don't know anybody who would be a fan of that, except like maybe narcissists. Anyways, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. And people like me want to believe you when you say you've changed. Just like me, for real. The Delulu girls, we're all out here.
Okay, but I love how people like you is always followed by an insult. People like me, she's just like, and I always like see the best in people.
But the thing is, like, I think that it's not necessarily like she's not complimenting herself.
No,
I don't think,
not.
because she's like I always see the best in people to the detriment of myself and others. I always see the best in people derogatory. Like that's what this line is saying to me.
It's like when you're asked your weakness at a job interview and you have to say a positive disguised as a weakness.
Oh, don't do that. I was in a couple like my sidebar interview. I was in some like people at my job were interviewing for other positions and I was like in the interviews, and the people who gave like really good answers about like their weaknesses and like then kind of talked about like what they've done about it already. Mm-hmm. So that's, you should be honest about your weaknesses, but also like with an action plan. So you can't just be like, I'm always late. You're like, I used to always be late. And so then I started setting a lot of alarms so I'd stop being late, because then it's not a weakness. It's a sign that you are willing to change and to fix your flaws instead of just being like, I'm perfect, because people who think they're perfect aren't. And that has been sidebar with Kat.
Is genuinely very good advice.
I know it is. That's why I was like, I'm going to say my advice. The more I think about it now, the less I know. Like the overthinker's conundrum of like, you can think about the same thing 100 times and it's not going to change the facts that you don't like. Because when you're trying to be like, okay, he left, but also he wants to come back. So that means that he regrets it, which means he probably won't leave again. And then like the mental gymnastics that you have to do to make it so that you can convince yourself that it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And because you never want to admit that like somebody hurt you just because they could, and now they regret it, not because they hurt you, but because they didn't realize that they were also going to lose stuff. All I know is that you drove us off the road. Vehicular manslaughter. Classic.
Once again.
As we know, 1989 is the Vehicular Manslaughter album.
Common knowledge.
Common knowledge, as all Swifties know.
It's text your ex and get in a car accident.
Exactly. Wouldn't recommend either of those things. All I know is you drove us off the road. But like, following up with the last line of like the overthinker's conundrum, like no matter how many times you think things over, the truth is still that the person that you love or loved left you and hurt you really badly. And even if they're apologizing, they can't unhurt you. Especially because it doesn't seem here like there's any sort of regret that he's expressing, or like any sort of actual reasoning of like, I left because I didn't want to do long distance and I thought it would be too hard. And now I see that actually it wouldn't be that hard and we should try it, which like still would kind of suck, but like more understandable than just like, I don't want to be with you anymore. And then showing back up and being like, JK, it's like, well, how do I know you're not just going to change your mind again?
Right. You have to have an action plan about why you're working on it.
Exactly. And it ties back. It ties back. All you had to do was say your flaws honestly. And that's how you'll slay your next job interview. Anyways, hey, all you had to do was stay. I love how simple this lyric is and like still how impactful it is, because she's saying that she never would have left him if he hadn't left her. So if he had never left at all, they would still be together. But now that he's left and is trying to come back, it's not the same, because the relationship dynamic changes as soon as you break up. Like there's immediately a level of like trust lost, and like everything is not going to be the same. You're just going to be tracing like that feeling that you had before you broke up the first time. And that's just not realistic to go back to it because it's never going to be the same.
Yeah.
So unless you acknowledge that things are going to be different and like action plan on how you're going to change things moving forward, it's not going to work out and you're just going to get hurt again. So it's like all you had to do was stay.
Right.
You literally could have avoided having all these problems if you had just stayed and talked it out.
Yeah, it reminds me of like in Mine where she talks about how I don't remember the exact lyrics right now. I'd have to go through the entire song in my head. I don't feel like doing that. But she's basically saying that like her parents just sort of fought and then ended things, and but he stayed with her and like talked things out. And that idea of like when things
Sure
get
you're not
hard.
thinking of stay.
I'm not.
Sorry, I let the intrusive thought win. Please continue.
I'm never thinking about stay. Just kidding. Now all I can think about is stay. All right, so
I expected you to leave me because that's all I've ever known, but you took me by surprise that I'd never leave you alone.
Yeah, so when things get really tough, instead of just like running from that conflict, being able to face it head on is really important in a relationship. That's what makes it stronger. That's what makes it healthy. Yeah. All you had to do was stay.
All you had to do was say your feelings. It's a fucking relationship. That's what you should be doing. Anyways.
Communication.
It's the key to not breaking up and getting this song written about you. Have me in the palm of your hand. Then why'd you have to go and lock me out when I let you in? So again, she was there. She let him in. She was willing to like talk about things and be vulnerable and be open. And he had her in the palm of his hand. Like she was eating it up. She was eating up this relationship. She was committed. She was in it. And he was not. So he locked her out when she let him in, and now he's back. Now you say you want it back. Reminds me of All Too Well 10-minute version. Came back swearing it's the same after 3 months in the grave. Like that, because Taylor at this point has gone through Red and has experienced what an on-again, off-again relationship is. And she says, actually, let's run it back for 1989, which I get it.
Right.
Mood.
Yeah.
But like, again, once a relationship ends, it's never going to be the same. You're going back. There's a breakup quote that I have talked about before, probably in our All Too Well episode. That's, and every time I talk about it, I go, I should open the book and find the exact quote. But it's just that like when you're in a relationship and the only thing you're thinking about is the beginning, you're already at the end because you're not thinking about the future. You're just thinking about things that have already happened.
Yeah.
And you're probably viewing them with rose-colored glasses. So like the happy times that you're remembering probably weren't that happy. And if you're not planning ahead and thinking about what you want to do with your partner, well, you should have just stayed and not broken things up, you know?
You're in love with the memory at that point.
Exactly.
I think it's interesting how when she says you had me in the palm of your hand. So in that, she's already calling herself small in that way. Like she's referring to herself as smaller than him, which I think is interesting.
That is interesting.
Like at this point, she has a lot of growth to get because, you know, I think now she's at a point in her life where she understands how powerful and tall she is. But like, I think in this song, she's...
Yeah, and I think that here it's kind of like almost a turning point in a way because before it was just like you hurt me and I'm hurt and like you did all these terrible things and like maybe I was at fault too, but like you did these things. And here she's like, I know the kind of person I am. I know that I'm going to like want to believe you and I'm going to want to like fall in love with you and have this no hold barred like relationship. And knowing that and then like thinking the other person's going to change is such a like common thing. Because I mean, who among us has not fallen for somebody who's like, I don't want to date. And you're just like, not yet. And then later, when you realize that they actually don't want to date and it's not about you, it's about things going on in their life. And then you're like, oh no, I'm heartbroken and I fully did this to myself, but I'm still mad about it.
When people tell you who they are, believe them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the post-chorus is just all you had to do was stay, repeated over and over. So she just really wanted to get the point across that, like, literally all you had to do was nothing, and you fucked that up. Like, the bar was in hell, and you went subterranean on it, you know?
You went subterranean.
Here you are now calling me up, but I don't know what to say. Very, we are never ever getting back together bridge.
It is, yeah.
Like, he calls me up, and he's like, I still love you. If we want to go, it's like Grammys or VMAs where she did a British accent. And everybody was like, oh my God.
She had a top hat.
She did have a top hat.
All I remember.
She often had a top hat in that era. She was having a good time, you know?
All my best times involved a top hat.
When have you ever worn a top hat?
I haven't.
You're like, the best is yet to come. That's why.
It's bachelor party. Bachelorette party. I'll have a top hat on at some point, I'm sure.
Wait, to say Liv's or Brienne's? Because
Brienne.
both.
Oh, it could be both.
It could be both.
We've got several friends who...
Where it's a possibility that top hats would be involved in the Bachelorette. The way that I'm like, which? I didn't hear what you said. It could be two.
Which friend? No, you're so real for that.
So he calls her up. She doesn't know what to say because she knows, again, that if he hadn't left in the first place, they would still be together because she didn't want to leave him. And so she wants him back, but at the same time, she knows that getting back together with him runs the risk of him leaving again, and so she doesn't know what to say because that's a really hard choice to make. Because, I've been picking up the pieces of the mess you made. The post-breakup, pre-glow-up, it's an era we've all been in, where you're still kind of miserable and you haven't gotten excited about being broken up yet.
That also reminds me of All Too Well with she's a crumpled up piece of paper. She's like putting it back together.
100%. People like you always want back the love they pushed aside. Once again, people like that, derogatory. And like, it stays in line with the idea of love being seen as transactional because it's like they think that love can just come back just because they push it aside and like act like it doesn't matter. And then when they care about it again, it's fine. It can just come back. But like, that's just not how feelings work. You have to contend with the consequences of your actions in order to move past them. Or as I like to say, well, if it isn't the consequences of my actions. I say that a lot.
Yeah.
It's a catchphrase. But people like me are gone forever when you say goodbye. I love that she's come to this realization throughout the song.
And that she does go back on it later in the album.
But also, we don't know because it's possible that this was after the last breakup.
Oh, that's true.
Because we don't know how many times there was on and off again.
That's true.
But either way, even if like she said this and had this realization and then went back on it and then switched it up again later, I think it works.
Oh yeah, every time you
like,
you make that declaration or you have those feelings, I'm proud of you.
Because also, like, it takes a while, I think, when you're in these kind of like, because relationships like this, the reason why you keep going back is because like being in a toxic like situationship or whatever like this can be very addicting because when you're with them, you get all this like attention and all this love and all this affection. And you're like, oh my God, if it could just be like this all the time, it'd be perfect. And then you break up and then you lose all of that validation from it. And then when they're like, well, actually we could get back together, and you're like, ooh, validation, you want it back. So like, it's very easy to fall into that cycle. And like, even if you like say like, no, I'm not going to go back. And then you do, the next time that it happens, you're like a little bit closer to that final declaration of like, no, actually I'm done now.
Right.
So I feel like that's where she is in this cycle is like, this might not be the last time that she makes this declaration, but if it's the first time, like that's still a really big step.
Right.
And I do think that like also that being able to walk away from a situation that's like hurting you more than it's making you feel good is something that takes maturity. And like, because every time that I think about like the getting back with my exes stuff, it's all prefrontal lobe development for me, where like, just before 25.
Right.
But yeah, just when I was younger, I'd be like, yeah, this will totally work out this time. No, it won't. For the same times it didn't work out, the same reasons it didn't work out last time. But when you go through it, then you get smarter about it. And then your frontal lobe develops and you're just like, damn, I did that.
I felt such a shift when I turned 25. It was so wild. I could never have even told you that there's just no way to know. Until it happens.
It's crazy. When they're like, it gets better. It's like, it gets better when your frontal lobe develops.
Yeah, it does.
And also if you have like ADHD or other mental illnesses, it can delay your frontal lobe developing fully until like an older age. But eventually it does hit.
It hits and it's glorious.
And then you're just like, I can make so many decisions right now. Wow.
Whoa.
I can see the long acting ramifications of my actions. And then you're like, all you had to do was stay. This album did come out right before her 25th birthday. So I will say this is her final prefrontal lobe album.
Whoa.
Wow. I never even thought about that. Honestly, I feel like her frontal lobe could have developed earlier because she's so smart.
That's true.
So then the chorus happens again. It's the same chorus, the same post-chorus. And then the bridge. Let me remind you that this is what you wanted. You ended it. Like, I cannot imagine how frustrating this is to be like broken up with. And I mean, I can. And then them coming back and being like, well, I want you back. And it's like, but you are the one who like ended things. And now, you know, the person who's coming back is like, oh, like you won't go back together with me. I'm so sad. And it's like, well, you ended things.
Yeah.
This is like you broke up with me and now you're upset because you broke up with me. Like maybe you shouldn't have broken up with me if you were so upset about the fact that you were going to be broken up with me. I've seen this in like a lot of like my friends' relationships too.
Yeah.
Where like they go through a breakup and then the ex is just like shitty and it's like, what did you think I was going to keep treating you the same? You broke up with me. Like,
you know,
be so for real.
It's kind of like James too, James and Betty.
Yeah.
This is what Betty should have said.
This is what Betty 100% should have done.
Yeah.
She should have said no. Should have gone home. Well, actually, she was already at her house. He showed up because he sucks. You were all I wanted, but not like this. Because like she wants him, but she wants the version of him that hadn't broken her heart and her trust.
Yeah.
So she didn't want him like this. She didn't want him begging for forgiveness. She wanted him to not have to do anything worthy of forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then the chorus happens again. It's the same chorus, but it just gets repeated twice because really she's just like, I'm going to just say the same things over and over again so that you get it through your head that you shouldn't be upset that I'm not getting back together with you because you're the one who broke up with me in the first place. So maybe just don't be shitty and then problem solved.
We are never, ever, ever getting back together.
Like ever. My discussion question is something that we both know the answer to for both of us. But this is just for everyone at home. Have you ever been in an on again, off again relationship, and what made you finally call it?
Yeah. I also think it's interesting that this is the track 5 of 1989.
That's a better question. Let's do that one.
It's not really a question.
Well, it could be the question of like, what do you think of this as a track 5? Because some people don't like it because it's not as sad as all the other track 5s.
I think it is kind of sad.
I think so too, but I think it's just because it's wait, but that's sad and not like sad.
I think it's interesting how like the track 5s are always the crux of the album. And this one is saying like, we could have avoided all of the songs on this album if you had just stuck around.
Literally never would have had to go to New York. Kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just fucking with you. Semantics. I love, anyways.
Never would have had to like break up, find hiding places, get back together.
Exactly. Like you never would have had This Love, which is my least favorite song in 1989. So, you know.
I don't like This Love either. That's true.
It's better than other songs of hers that we don't like, but I mean 1989 is just banger.
1989 is like a very good album.
But yeah, so I just
if this wasn't the track 5, which one would you think? I think Blank
Clean.
Space. Really? Ooh.
But I think that Clean isn't a track 5 because it needs to be at the end of the album.
Yeah,
like you have to go through the rest. You have to earn Clean. You know what I mean? Like you have to go through the rest of the emotions
you do.
On 1989 to get to Clean. Because like Clean wouldn't hit as hard if you listened to Clean as track 5 and then like another song came later. Like I'm trying to think. I think How You Get the Girl is like track 6. I want to say. So like imagine you go Clean into How You Get the Girl and it's just like, wait, aren't you over this? You just told me you were over this. Because sometimes I think like it's easy to confuse like track 5 being like the saddest song on the album with it being the crux of the album because she writes a lot of breakup albums, which like they're amazing and I love all of them. Not trying to be one of those like people who flattens Taylor Swift to only write about breakups, but like
but we love.
But yeah, I think it
is kind of it's the main message of the album. I get why it's the track 5. I just don't think it hits as hard as many of the other. I do love the song.
I think like 1989, like some of the emotional depth, it's still there. It just gets lost in the really poppy production, which I love. Don't get me wrong. Like I think 1989 is an amazing album, but like I think that's why for some people it's like, because when you see like track 5 rankings, usually like, I mean, I think I would probably of the track 5s rank it lower down.
I would too.
But not because I don't like it, but just because like, I don't know. I wouldn't cry in my car to this.
Well, I think that Blank Space would have been a good option as well. Because a lot of this period of her life was sort of talking about how people were perceiving her and wanting to get away from that image and feeling trapped in that image. And I don't know.
Hot take, Slut as a track 5.
Ooh. That could have also worked.
I think it could have too.
Yeah.
So you guys now tell us what you think. If all you had to do was stay was not track 5, what do you think would be the track 5?
Wow.
And that's all you had to do was stay.
All I had to do was
Stay.
love story.
Baby, just say yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I am not wearing like a Victorian dress today. Although
The sleeves are kind of giving.
I have a fun sleeve moment happening.
She has a fun sleeve. Don't be picky.
But like I can't commit to the corset at this time of my life. I'm so tired and corsets are so annoying.
They are.
But when when I was a senior in high school, I went to prom in a dress that had like a corset on top, a corset on top. I'm going to try to remember to put a picture of that somewhere. And my dress actually wasn't originally a corset. So life hack, it was like there was a bodice moment and it was a little too small to zip. So my friend Liv like folded in the zipper and like sewed it in so that it was a corset that you tightened.
Liv is such an icon.
We love her. And everyone loved the dress and the corset was the best part. So thank you, Liv. All right. Love Story is the 3rd track on Taylor's 2nd studio album, Fearless, which was re-recorded for the Taylor's version release. It originally came out as the debut single in September, 2 months before the album came out. So we had a lot of time with this one. Mm-hmm. I very much remember this song.
I still want to live in the world of this song.
Right? Yeah, it's so vivid in my head because obviously at this point, like Teardrops on My Guitar and Our Song were really big. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, boom, Love Story, You Belong With Me.
Skyrocket.
She exploded for the 11-year-old girlies. Mm-hmm. And she was already popular with us.
Yeah. This is like new levels of, because also this was the like MTV played music videos in the morning era. I watched this music video so many times on the little TV I had in my room.
Yeah. I always, every morning before school would watch VH1 and MTV. I'd watch those music videos. Mm-hmm. What a time.
What a time. I was watching the VMAs day after because I bought Paramount Plus because I was like, I really want to watch them live. And then after I bought it, I found out that it wasn't live. It was only available next day. But it's fine because my mom is perfect and she FaceTimed me during Chappell Roan's performance so I could watch it. And she also texted me that Reputation was not announced every time Taylor went up to announce an award or to accept an award, which is only twice.
Thank you, Liz.
But like, I'm such a clown that my mom knows about it. Like,
thank you, Liz, for your service.
But they played a clip of like her You Belong With Me performance from, which was right after the Kanye debacle.
Right. Wow.
But yeah, they played it as like a throwback and I was like, is that weird for her to be like, hey, look there's my performance from one of the most traumatic nights of my life?
I don't know. I feel like,
I wonder if she wasn't in her seat at that point.
It's possible. I also think that I hope that it's something now where she can recognize that it was a really horrible thing that happened, but that she's able to just like allow it to exist in her life without it overtaking her. 'Cause we've all had really bad things happen. And it's like that grief thing where the grief stays the same size, but you get bigger.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope that for her. I hope it wasn't traumatizing for her last night. She doesn't need any more trauma. None of us do.
Nobody. Stop traumatizing everybody.
Literally. No more trauma in 2024. All right. And beyond.
Okay, Buzz Lightyear.
Okay.
Sorry. That felt mean. I don't know why.
This song references not only Romeo and Juliet, but also the Scarlet Letter. Kat, the Shakespeare reference is for you specifically.
Thank you.
Yep. Also,
I like that also she was just like, hey, you remember those books you read your junior year of high school? I read them too. I'm
too.
Taylor Swift.
Except
she said I did actually get my GED and here's the proof.
Except the thing is, she like got the spirit kind of, but she doesn't actually know what she's talking about.
Yeah. So a high schooler.
She read the Spark Notes, but she also like only read the first part. You know?
I didn't read the Scarlet Letter. I read the Spark Notes because that book sucks. I'm going to be so real about it. It's a boring book. Nathaniel Hawthorne choke.
But you know what doesn't is Easy A.
Easy A is great.
Which is a modern day retelling of Scarlet Letter. And it's great. And do you remember my Pocketful of Sunshine moment?
Oh my God, I sure do.
I went to sing Pocketful of Sunshine at karaoke last Halloween and I started singing I Got a Pocket too early.
And also, you like forgot how long the song was.
Oh, it just
They're
keeps
like,
going.
Take me away. And you were just like, Jesus, this is really long.
I was like, Natasha.
And then you were like, oh, this is so long. And then you were
Them
hitting every
pipes.
note perfectly. You're
All
like,
right.
oh, so annoying. Let me just slay a little longer. She's also dressed as Alan from the Barbie movie. It was a really good time.
It's an iconic performance.
Was that really a year
in
ago?
my
That
history.
wasn't
Can
even
you
a year
believe it?
ago.
I know. I'm going to try to post a clip of the Pocket Full of Sunshine thing because I got So there's a lot that Taylor wrote about the inspiration for the song. She wrote it about someone that she never dated, but basically she wanted to date this guy. Her parents said no. And then she wrote this song because she was like, you know what? It's the most romantic thing of all time. Romeo and Juliet, except the part where they both die. So I'm just going to change it.
Romeo and Juliet. I only read the first 3 acts, but based off that, it's going really well.
Nothing could go wrong. I know that
Nothing
she's
could go
13
wrong.
and he's 17, but everything's fine.
I mean, to be fair, they were trying to make her marry like a 30-year-old.
That's true. Wow, Shakespearean times were something else. Yeah. So anyway, she started the song with the line, "This love is difficult, but it's real," and then she built the entire song around that. Legend has it that she said, "Mom, Dad, I want to date this guy." They said no, and then she wrote this song in 20 minutes.
No, because that's so real.
Went up to her room, furiously scribbled in a notebook, and then the next day recorded it in like 20 minutes.
You know, I mean, this is the woman who wrote Cardigan in 5 hours, so I believe
That's
it.
true. I love that because like how real is it to just have such
And also
intense
like when
emotions?
when you're really feeling something strongly, like writing a song is super easy. It's when you're not having strong emotions. And
Right.
like being a 17-year-old girl, constant strong emotions.
Right. But you know, at this era of her life, she used to write about things that she wanted or things that she like wished she had or like idealized versions of things that she thought love would be like. And this is one of those songs. Mm-hmm. She did say that this is about a love that maybe society wouldn't accept or maybe your friends wouldn't accept, to which I say, sometimes friends know better.
Can I ask you a question?
Maybe listen to your friends sometimes.
I like that song.
Thank you. So our album drops next week.
Yeah.
She's hinted that the subject of this song is the same person she wrote White Horse about.
So her parents were right?
I guess so.
Well, she was like, I'm going to date him anyways. And then he broke her.
She apparently never dated this person.
She wrote White Horse about somebody who she never dated?
Oh, that's a good point.
Damn, Taylor.
I don't know then.
That's very slave
My life
her.
is a lie.
No, but like, I wonder if it was, I mean, she said she never dated him, but maybe she's just,
We don't actually
She just
really
be-
know anything.
she just be saying stuff sometimes.
She'd just be saying
And
stuff.
also people can misquote her.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure she talked about the song everywhere because it was her first like big hit.
Yeah. When I get to performances, I can't wait to share this one fun fact that is like blowing my mind.
I'm excited.
Actually, I'm about to say it. Okay. So it's a staple in pretty much all her concerts and all of her tours. She has performed this song live over 500 times.
That's insane.
I know.
That makes, so like there's this one point on Era's tour where her earpiece malfunctioned during Love Story, and there's like a clip of her walking over to her bassist and doing like this, which like is probably their signal for like my in-ears aren't working. And she like looked at what he was playing on the bass and he counted her in, and like because she's played it so many times that like it probably is so easy to just be like, okay, I know where to start. I don't need anything else. I can't hear anything. It's fine.
Right. Yeah. I just think over 500 times, which like logistically makes sense. She's done like 130 something Eras Tour shows alone.
Yeah.
So
was it on Rep Tour?
I think so. At least at some point. It might have been part of a mashup. It might
That's
have been
crazy. I mean, it makes sense because like this is her biggest, maybe not her biggest to date, but like this is her longest running biggest song.
It's huge. Everyone knows the song. So pretty positive reception overall. People did think that it was a little corny, and they were also just like, you know, it's basically just Romeo and Juliet with a happy ending. Some people complained that it was miseducation of classic literature.
Maybe just let fanfic writers live. Like Miss King Bean 89 is literally just over here writing her Romeo and Juliet X Scarlet Letter fanfic in verse, and maybe you should let her live about it. Maybe leave her alone. She's literally just a girl. She's a minor, and you're gonna insult a minor. I was just saying how much internet lingo I could throw in there.
Wow.
Anyways, I need to touch grass.
That was very funny. But I just thought it was funny how they're just like, she's telling the story wrong. I'm like, she's telling it better. It's like, sorry, but
also, like, Shakespeare didn't write the original Romeo and Juliet. It's based off something else. Most of Shakespeare's plays are based on something else. Hamlet, Shakespeare didn't come up with that.
Also, when I say better, I just mean like happier, because obviously Romeo and Juliet ends so tragically. Like everyone dies.
That's a Shakespearean tragedy. It's everybody dies at the end.
Wild. Like spoiler alert. Oh, it's funny because you mentioned her being like a fanfic writer, basically. I said very narrative therapy of her because she took a tragic story and was like, but what if it was happy instead? Honestly, good on you. This song won her the BMI Award for Best Country Song of the Year. It was also used in the trailer for the movie Letters to Juliet.
I forgot about that movie.
Right?
It's a cute movie.
I've never seen it, but I watched the trailer, so I've basically seen it.
Yeah, you have. It's just cute. It's just Amanda Seyfried in Italy.
Right.
It's really good if you miss Italy.
Oh, maybe I should watch it then. I do miss Italy. And I miss my Italian bestie, Sylvia.
Shout out, Sylvia.
Shout out. So the music video premiered also in September 2008. I wrote, features her in a corset and very pretty hair. Other stuff happens. Just go watch it.
A man's there, I guess.
A man's there. Here's I think this is funny. The actor's name is Justin Gaston.
No one runs like Gaston, cross a field like Gaston.
Not only
is irrelevant with Taylor Swift in a corset, Gaston.
Not only is it a J-man, but it's a guy with the last name Gaston, a character who canonically sucks.
Yeah, so funny.
Anyway, and this one, the
sorry
CMA.
to that man. You could be cool.
Oh, I'm sure he's fine. I was just like, that name could be fake. Like that is
maybe it's a stage name.
Maybe, I don't know. And won CMA Award for Best Music Video that year. Okay, the hidden message in the liner notes for the song was, someday I'll find this. What?
Oh, ouch.
Wait, but that's sad.
But also it's not, because did you see her acceptance speech where she talked about Travis and she said every time he's there, like he just makes everything like so happy?
Yeah, she was like, every time I called cut for the music video.
Yeah, he's like clapping and like making everything happier. Like, it's so cute.
So
she did
it. I'm glad she's happy.
Gold star.
Gold star. All right. Now we'll get to the lyrical breakdown. We were both young when I first saw you. Is this play about us? Yeah. Yeah.
I just looked over at my yearbook collection.
Aww.
Which most of those have you in them.
We were really young. We were 6.
I don't know where. I recently found, not recently, I discover this approximately every other year, our first grade class photo.
Yeah.
I know I have a picture of it somewhere, but maybe we'll put it on the Patreon.
Well, because now the theme song is no longer correct, because now it's 21 years.
Oh my gosh.
Our friendship can drink.
And so can we.
That's true. Anyway. In Romeo and Juliet, I already mentioned that, the characters were 13 and 17. In this case, Taylor was also a teenager when she wrote this song. I close my eyes and the flashback starts. I'm standing there on a balcony in summer air. So she's allowing us to go on this flashback with her. She's basically telling us, like, this whole part, she's just like, I'm closing my eyes. Now, follow me on this journey.
She's like, and we're moving, and we're going, and we're on a balcony.
Like,
okay?
See the lights, see the party, the ball gowns. Like, do you see, like, she's literally telling us. She's not doing show, not tell.
But, like, the way that she sings it adds a lot to the tone. But, like, it is interesting how she's, like, setting a scene. And it is very, like, theatrical of, like, how, like, scene notes work.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, like, before dialogue starts, not in Shakespeare because just we don't have those texts. Right. But, like, most plays will have stage directions, and this feels like stage direction.
That's true. And I think it's really interesting because usually she doesn't tell us what to see. She just like tells us what she's seeing, sort of. I don't know how to explain that. And this is told a little bit differently.
This is like a story that's told with the intention of there being a listener.
Right. It's a fairy tale.
Whereas usually she's just like talking about stuff.
Right. This is also a reference to the famous balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet, which she also did on the Speak Now tour with like an actual balcony while singing the song.
This is a PSA that wherefore art thou Romeo does not mean where are you Romeo. It means why are you Romeo?
Yes.
Because she's asking, so wherefore means why in Shakespearean times. This is just a PSA. If you're in 9th grade, you're welcome.
Imagine someone, instead of reading the Spark Notes for Romeo and Juliet, they listen to this episode.
Well, no, they listen to this episode, and then when they're reading it later, they're like, oh, wait, I have a tidbit that'll make me look smart. Because if you say that before your teacher, you're going to look smart.
Ooh.
That's how I got into Shakespeare, was that I understood Romeo and Juliet more than the rest of my class, and it gave me a superiority complex. And now here I am with a Hamlet retelling.
You're giving a lot of great advice on this episode.
I'm just really out here spreading my wisdom.
I love that for you. All right. This is really embarrassing. I can't believe I'm even saying that. It's not like humiliating or anything. It's just that, so you know, I have an auditory processing disorder. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I was 11. That's why. I thought when I was a kid, and I just didn't question this, that it was see the lights, see the party, the bargains.
You're like, this is at a Marshall's.
It's a sale. It's me at a Marshall's. Oh my gosh.
You're like the party, the ball gowns. The bargains.
Look at these bargains. I think it's because I was and always will be a smart shopper.
You're just such a Maxinista.
Anyway,
get you a fucking live, laugh, love sign.
I actually just went to TJ Maxx not that long ago.
No, like I love TJ Maxx. I just think Maxinista's funny.
Oh, it is funny. Anyway, I've never told anyone that because it's never been relevant.
I'm obsessed with that.
So now the internet knows, and you know. See you make your way through the crowd and say, "Hello." It's giving Enchanted.
Enchanted to cheat
Guy
you.
Pulls up, says, "Hey," like, okay.
And she's just like, I will maladaptive daydream so hard about this moment.
I want you to know that for the majority of the song, that's all we know about him and their relationship is that one time he walked up to her and said hello. The rest of the song, I'll get to the ending. The rest of the song is her just being like, and then I went to see him and I told him not to go.
It's like, and then what did he say? And she's like, and then it's girl.
He just said hello. That's
honestly,
all we know.
We all maladaptive daydream like that though.
That's
it's
true.
just like, no, it's about what I'm doing and how I'm thriving.
That's true. Little did I know that you were Romeo. You were throwing pebbles. Oh, I guess I'm wrong. He's also attacking her.
All right, things he's confirmed doing: walking through ballroom, saying hello, throwing pebbles. So we've confirmed that he's mobile.
He's mobile and he has a weapon.
Oh my God, he's Lucas and Claire.
Oh my God, she's listening. Oh wow, she's the Demogorgon.
I like that she's not Max, who was played by Sadie Sink. That's literally in the TCU.
Well, because Lucas throws pebbles at the Demogorgon. He wouldn't do that to his girl Max.
But he might throw him at her window. Anyway.
Oh, all right.
Now that we've discoursed.
I hope other people will care about Stranger Things like we do. All right. So this is more references to Romeo and Juliet with throwing rocks. She also mentioned this in Hey Stephen with, of all the girls tossing rocks at your window, I'll be the one waiting there, even when it's cold. She talks a lot in the song about waiting. Also, like, don't throw rocks or pebbles at windows. That could damage the glass.
Yeah.
Don't do it. All right.
Maybe like clown noses. That could be a good thing to throw.
I want that.
Someone
Someone
just
throw a clown nose. Actually, that's terrifying.
The thing is that
how many clowns were down there? How many noseless clowns?
How many noses did they have to cut off the clowns to make this 12-pack of clown noses that I bought? How many noses? How many clowns sacrificed their sense of smell for the bit? 12.
Oh gosh.
Unless one had more than one nose. Sorry, I put the nose back on. Continue.
We're in our clown era.
Our Clara, if you will.
Our Clara. All right.
Clara Bow? Wait. It's an Easter egg.
All right. So, and my daddy said, stay away from Juliet. Sorry, I can't run away with you. My dad said no. But anyway, so in Romeo and Juliet, It's forbidden love because the families
hate each other
Yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah, there really is no reason, is
Well,
there?
the reasons are just lost to time. It's like generations ago they didn't like each other.
This grudge. They don't even know what they're angry about anymore. Ridiculous.
Bite your thumb, sir. I bite my thumb, sir. Do you bite your thumb at me, sir? No, sir. But I do bite my thumb, sir. It's like flipping someone off, but Shakespeare times.
Right. And I was crying on the staircase, begging you, please don't go. All you had to do was stay.
I'm just imagining like a 17-year-old boy on the doorstep, and Taylor's like, "Dad, can I go out with him?" And he's just like looks at him. He's like, "No." And the boy is like, "Oh, I guess I'll go." And Taylor's like, "No, don't leave me." And her dad is just there like, she'll grow up eventually. One day her friend.
here at your doorstep.
But honestly, she didn't though, because but Daddy, I love him. So
gosh, there's so much happening right now.
And,
the crossovers. But also like all you had to do was stay. Like that's a nice little connection with their songerinos.
I just took it in a weird direction. There's
fine.
a lot going on.
You weird? No.
Ever
All
seen me
right.
without this hat? Ever seen me without these stupid headphones?
It's weird. All right. We get to the chorus. I said, Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. I'll be waiting. All there's left to do is run. So far, once again, all we know is that he said hello and then threw pebbles.
And showed up at her house at some point.
And we nothing else. But she's just like, I'll be waiting, and then we'll run away together. She's literally like, I will literally abandon my entire life and my family for this. And I think that's sad in and of itself. Like, what is she trying to escape so bad? Because I'm going to make this song sad. I'm telling you guys right now. In my perception of this, like, clearly she wants this fairy tale so badly because she's unhappy at home.
Well, I think that like she wrote this when she was like 16 or 17. And I think that when you're a teenager, it's really easy to have that like grass is greener mentality. And like maybe that's true. Sometimes maybe the grass would be greener.
True.
But like any minor inconvenience, you're like, this is the worst thing I've ever experienced because it's the worst thing you've ever experienced because you haven't like dealt with a lot of adult things yet.
Or any guy named Justin Gaston walking through a ballroom, you're just like, this is the love of my life.
You're like, I will abandon everything.
Right. That's also very true. I don't know. I just, you know I love making things sad here.
You know it.
You know it. You'll be the prince and I'll be the princess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like she's making a mountain out of a molehill here in pursuit of her fantasy. I don't know why. I was
coming for her throat.
I was having a moment. You don't even know. Wait till I get to the end.
Oh
man.
no.
All right. Next verse. Oh, it's a love story, baby. Just say yes. I forgot that line, but you guys all know it because you all know the song.
Yeah.
So I sneak out to the garden to see you in cruel summer. Snuck in through the garden gate.
Well.
Ow. For the line, we keep quiet because we're dead if they knew. It's interesting that she said they'd be dead considering the end of Romeo and Juliet.
Where they die.
Where they die.
Because they knew.
Right. So she's like, so close your eyes. All right. As long as you close your eyes, you will not die. Escape this town for a little while. So I love how at the beginning of the song, she's saying, I close my eyes, the flashback starts. And now she's telling him like, no, close your eyes and see this amazing thing I'm seeing. Because she's in 2008. Like, she's not actually in these Shakespearean fairy tale times, but she's just like, close your eyes and go on this journey with me. Just like she did with us.
Because she's in 2008. Shakespeare's in 2008. As soon as you said 2008, I was like, I'm going to let her finish her thought.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That was good.
Thanks.
And then, because you were Romeo, I was a Scarlet letter. So it kind of reminds me of the Albatross, where she's now saying that, like, people are saying all these things about me in our relationship if you were to date me. If she's the Scarlet letter. I've never read the Scarlet letter, but my understanding is that people don't like her.
Yeah, she has a child out of wedlock, and everyone goes, whore. And then she has to wear the A for adultery because... Oh, also she was married, but her husband was, like, abroad when she got pregnant with, spoiler for the Scarlet letter, the pastor's baby.
Now you guys don't have to read the books.
You don't have to read the book because, and then, so she gets the Scarlet letter as the A for adultery, but then she just becomes such a good person that everybody forgets about the adultery and like starts to give her like think that the A stands for like nice things, and then the pastor like self-harms himself to death essentially because he feels so guilty about A, committing adultery, and B, having sex with a woman, which like you're not supposed to do when you're a priest. It's like a whole thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. So just a fun thing that we all, I mean, not all, read in 11th grade.
Yeah, I didn't read it.
I mean, did I actually read it? No. But I theoretically read it. Miss Betchovich, if you're listening, I'm sorry, and I read the book.
But you were everything to me. I was begging you, please don't go. Again, I just wish that we saw more of this relationship. I wish that we knew more.
Well, I think also like the draw of this relationship to her isn't even the relationship; it's the fact that it's forbidden.
That's true. That's true.
Because
like you've all read
wasn't
Romeo and
sexy
Juliet, maybe.
once it wasn't forbidden.
Whoa.
This is before she had that realization.
That's true. Oh, also, I meant to say when you were talking about the Scarlet letter earlier that Taylor really said, "I'm having his baby." No, I'm not. But you should have seen your faces.
She was in that character era.
It's true.
I should probably know the name of the character, but I don't.
Hester. How did I know that?
Well, neither of us read the book, apparently.
All right. So, the choruses again, except now there's extra chorus. These
Chorus
two
2,
lines.
Electric Boogaloo.
Exactly. Chorus extended cut. Romeo, save me. They're trying to tell me how to feel. This love is difficult, but it's real. I think that's by far my favorite lines in this whole song.
Yeah.
Those are bangers. That's the Taylor Swift that I know and love. So here's where I start getting into like why I think things are sad in the song. Because now she's saying, Romeo, save me. So clearly she thinks that there's something to be saved from. Mm-hmm. And she's saying, they're trying to tell me how to feel, which in the context of the song, yeah, her parents are saying, don't date this guy. Society is saying, don't date this guy. In the context of Taylor Swift's life, though, we can look at that as, or even in my life, everyone's life, it's just like society is constantly telling us how to feel about things, which is really deeply confusing. So I think that line is very poignant.
Yeah, because I think it's like that idea of they're trying to tell me how to feel is because sometimes you can be like, you shouldn't do that. Like, that's a bad idea to do that. And like, even if you're trying to give advice from a good place, sometimes it comes across as like, well, okay, if I can't feel that way, then like what, I can't not feel that way. And it's just like very isolating if people are just telling you not to feel something and you're like, but I feel it though.
Exactly. So it's just like these ingrained feelings that we have about certain things in our lives because of these arbitrary rules that society just decided.
And especially women.
Right. And then of course this love is difficult, but it's real. Which I think is very interesting considering she wrote this song about something that's not real.
But she's so real for that.
She wanted it so badly.
Like she's just manifesting.
She is manifesting.
Let her manifest.
I'll let her
cook.
Like Buffy says, she's cookie, she's still baking. All right. Don't be afraid. We'll make it out of this mess. I think, in my personal opinion, she's saying that more to herself than she is to him. She's telling herself not to be afraid. She's telling herself, I'm going to make it through. She's saying, this is difficult, but it's real. Like trying to just tell herself these affirmations about what's happening.
Yeah, because if you're doing something that's really hard, you have to make sure that it's worth it to like fight for it. And she's like, this love is difficult, but it's real.
But it's real.
We'll make it through this. It's fine.
Oh, let me get to the bridge. I really wonder how you're going to feel about my interpretation of these events.
I'm also interested.
Okay, so, but I got tired of waiting, wondering if you were ever coming around. Never came. She gave up. My faith in you was fading when I met you on the outskirts of town. And I said, we're going to get to the chorus, but this is their last meetup. This is her last ditch effort to be like, what we have is real. Please run away with me. I'm literally begging you. And so she says that again in the chorus. She's like, Romeo, save me. I've been feeling so alone. I keep waiting for you, but you never come. Is this in my head? I don't know what to think. Like all these really confusing negative thoughts. She doesn't know what's happening. And so like she's explaining this all to Romeo, because we know that it's in quotations. And then the next line is, he knelt to the ground. All of the other pronouns thus far have been you. When she was talking to Romeo, we were both young when I first saw you.
That's interesting.
So I think when she says, he knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring and said, marry me, Juliet, you never have to be alone. That's not Romeo. She waits for Romeo. He never comes. She goes to the outskirts of town. She's like, did I make it all up? I don't know what to do. This other guy like proposed to me. He's offering me all the things that you're not offering me.
Can I look at the lyrics?
Yes, you may. I got this from a TikTok. Someone pointed it out a while ago. I never forgot it.
Interesting.
I know.
Yeah, because like it's in quotations. So like she's saying this, but it's like I got tired of waiting. When I met you on the outskirts of town, he knelt. That's so interesting, the use of pronouns there. I wonder if it's like that. I don't know.
I think it's not Romeo that proposed to her.
Or maybe it's because in all the flashbacks, she was like saying you, because it's like, no. Because it starts with we were both young when I first saw it. Yeah. Wait, that's wild. So she ends up not with Romeo, but with Paris, who's the other one. Or not Paris.
We were in Paris. So yeah, this other guy kneels to the ground. He pulled out a ring, said, "Marry me, Juliet. You'll never have to be alone. I love you. That's all I really know. I talked to your dad. Go pick out a white dress. It's a love story." So like all the things that she wanted to hear from this other guy. And then presumably she ends up with him instead.
That's so interesting, because it's like, imagine she's hanging out with this guy who she has friend zoned, and then she's just like, yeah, like I just want him to do all these things, and he's just like, well, guess what I did? All those things. Let's get married.
Exactly. She's like, I waited for you.
Yeah.
But you like never showed up, and this guy did. So what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? My dad approved of this one. So what do you want from me? And then the very end of the song, just her saying like, we were both young. It was just young, you know, and now I'm off and married to this other guy.
Interesting.
Right?
House of stone. Now I'm covered.
So the discussion question, and you and I have been talking about this, but for you guys, the discussion question, do you think that she ended up with Romeo at the end? Or what do you think of that pronoun switch?
I'm like, is Ivy just like the sequel to Love Story? Ooh. Where she meets back up with Romeo and is just like, I wish I had married you.
Wow.
But all you had to do was stay and you didn't show up. So I married this other guy and now, whoa.
Kids and Christmas.
Goddamn.
Maybe Romeo singing Right Where You Left Me.
One day we'll write our Taylor Swift jukebox musical.
One day we will. Yeah, that's that.
That's Love Story.
Wow.
I also love every single time that I see an Eras Tour proposal to this song, I cry. Every time I love it. It's never not iconic. Is it cliche? Yes. But you know what else is cliche? Being in love, and people still do it. So
people still
not me,
do it.
But
possibly me.
Could be me.
No, not me.
Not me right now.
So thank you so much for listening. I want to give a quick shout out to our Swiftest tier patrons. I believe this is the list. Tracy, Bethany, M, Ashley, Liam. That sounds right.
September.
How
could we not remember? This episode is coming out close to the 21st night of September.
You're so right. I'm so sorry, September, for not remembering that. That's so silly of me because I interact with September a lot in the Patreon. We both do.
We love September. I'm just checking if this is this is not the episode that comes out the closest to the 21st of September. But you know what? I will give my yearly warning early. Don't say I love you for the first time on September 21st because then your song will be, this is a real if you give a mouse a cookie moment. Because then if you say it for the first time on the 21st of September, then later you'll hear the song when you're at a wedding and you'll be like, oh my God, wait, is this our song? And then it is your song, and then you'll break up. And then every year on the 21st of September, you're like, hey, everyone, so don't do what I did. So don't do what I did. And say it on the 20th or the 22nd.
Once again, expert advice coming from Kat over here.
And that's all my wisdom. I'm going to go be a dumb bitch again. I'm going to go take none of my advice.
Oh, man. So, yeah, thank you so much, Swiftest tier patrons. Thank you for listening. I feel like there's other stuff to say. Oh, now we have a playlist available on the Patreon that we're going to do every month for Swiftlore. Mm-hmm. That was September's idea. Thank you, bestie.
And we're probably going to watch Aquamarine
at the end of the month.
At the end of the month for our September Patreon live stream moment. So,
that'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
And then we're also trying to figure out a way to do that fundraiser in October for breast cancer awareness. We're still working out the logistics of just like the easiest way to do that. So that'll be exciting. But in the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram at Swiftlore Pod.
And on TikTok at Swiftlore Pod.
And we forgot our hint songs.
Mine is Sharpest Tool. Is it Sharpest Tool?
It's just Sharpest Tool.
My hint song is Sharpest Tool by Sabrina Carpenter.
Mine is I'm Too Sexy by Right Said Fred.
And so come back next week to find out what that means.
Be here.
Come back. Be here. All right.
All you had to do was
slay.
And I think that's it. All right. My stomach's still growling, so.
Crispy high five.
Crispy high five. Boop.
Crisp. I think that every time that there's like a theory that a lot of people believe, I'm just going to buy another piece of a clown costume so that eventually when Rep TV gets announced,
Yeah.
I can, you know, also just go to the fair and act like I
There you go.
work there, you know?
Always a nice thing to do.
Exactly.
They're always looking for new clowns.
And, you know, I think that as Swifties, we really are great applicants in the clown pool. The job market sucks, but you know what those skills as a Swiftie get you? Clownery.
Yeah. Get thee to a clownery.